Hello, welcome back to the SRC podcast. We are joined here today with Rebecca Murphy.
Hello, Rebecca. How are you?
Hello, I'm good. How are you?
Cold, but we move. But yes, today we'll be talking to Rebecca Murphy, who is our campus director at Ultimo. Is it just Ultimo?
Yeah, just Ultimo.
Yeah. So would you like to tell us about how you got to that position and kind of how all of this came into?
Sure. It's a bit of a long, winding story.
As all the good stories are.
Yeah.
So just bear with me. Look, I started, my first degree is actually in music performance. So,
Oh, wow.
yeah. So, yeah, a bit of a strange career trajectory, I suppose. So while I was a student, I got a part-time job working in the student services office at the university I was studying at. And when I finished my degree, I went off and did music full-time for a little while. And then my old boss contacted me and said, "Oh, we've got this job coming up. Would you be interested?" And at that time, it was a good fit for me, so I went back to that. So I started off in student services, like the student services team at Ultimo at the front desk there. And by the time I left that university, I had worked my way up to the manager of enrolments and compliance for 6 university campuses in Australia and 2 overseas. So I had worked my way up there, and all the time while I was doing that, I was doing my music career as well. I ended up leaving that role to go overseas and do some more study in music in a couple of different countries. And then I came back to Australia and I needed to figure out what I was going to do. So I enrolled with Torrens University in Sydney, in the Blue Mountains International Hotel Management School, and I have a Masters of International Hotel Management from them. At the end of that course, I was offered a job for the Walt Disney Company, so I moved over to Florida, and I worked there for 12 months. And while I was there, I did a mixture of customer service and what we call being friends with characters. And then when I came back to Australia, a role came up at Torrens University, working at the Piedmont campus in Sydney. And about 18 months into that, I had the opportunity to apply for the campus director role at Ultimo, which I did and was obviously successful in. And that is how I got to where I am now in the shortest period possible.
Wow,
That's wonderful.
amazing.
That's wonderful.
So with the music stuff, I'm really intrigued. How did that look like for you? Like, you find your way into that music path, and like, what did you do while you were in that?
Sure. So growing up, my mum was an accountant or a bookkeeper for a ballet teacher, and she was a single mum. So, and I was very, very little.
Yeah.
And she couldn't afford childcare, so she used to stick me in the back of the class. And that was how I started performing on stage and things like that. My dad when he was alive, was a big fan of Gilbert and Sullivan operetta, and so there was always music in the house.
Yeah.
And when I started going to primary school, there was an ad in the school newsletter for auditions for the Australian Girls Choir, and I took it home and I said to Mum, "Can I audition for this?" And she looked at me and she said, "Can you sing?" And so I went along to the audition and got into the Australian Girls Choir. And that was really where the music thing sort of started taking off for me as a real possibility of a career, I suppose. So when it came time applying for courses for university, I thought, well, I'm going to apply for one music course, and if I get into that course, then that's what I'm supposed to do, because I'm a big believer in there's a plan in the universe for me, and all that kind of thing. And I did get into that course, and so that was the path I went down. Being a musician in Australia is not easy. It's quite a tough career. So you always have to have another job as a performer, especially when you're starting out. And for me, that became university administration, essentially. But it does give you two different types of skills. So as a musician and a performer, you have to have good people skills, and you become very analytical, because playing music, singing music, everything has to be perfect, and it has to be timed correctly and all those kinds of things. So that kind of develops the creative and the analytical part of your brain, I guess. And then being an administrator, we have to look at things really logically and be good at customer service. The two kind of just went together nicely for me. That's how I think of it in my head anyway.
Yeah, that's really cool. You said how the position came up for you to enroll as the administrator, the campus director. What got you going into it? Like, what motivated you to enroll into that?
Well, the role that I had before the campus director role was the campus life coordinator role for the health campus. And that role was kind of like a team leader role for the student services team there. And so I had been doing a lot of the stuff that campus directors do already. And I suppose for me, one of the big lessons I learned out of getting this role was that I didn't think that I was ready to move into that campus director role, but a lot of the other people senior to me and around me thought that I was. And I remember very clearly someone saying to me at the time that all this was going on, the most important conversation about your career happens when you're not in the room. And that is absolutely true.
All right.
Yeah. So obviously they knew that this vacancy was going to come up for the campus director role at Ultimo. Other people had talked about, who do you think could do it? Who do you think would be good? My name came up in that conversation, and then it was suggested to me, strongly suggested to me that I apply for that role. And at the time going into it, as you do with anything new, you don't feel 100% confident going in. But I think over time, I've really worked hard to develop myself in the role, and also to improve the campus and the way that students engage with the campus over that time. Yeah,
I think I can relate to that as well. I mean, I'm not a campus director, I'm not anything near that. But I think a lot of the time, like, people who are really hardworking, they doubt that they're very hardworking. So then when a role like that big and like similar to that, they're like, oh, I think people will think that you'll be good for that. You're like, oh, I don't really think so. Or, I don't know what I'm saying.
No, I understand what you're saying, Coco, because I think if you're a hard worker, you get so wrapped up in what you're doing that you don't take that opportunity always to step back and look at what you've actually achieved.
Definitely,
and, and that's true for a lot of people. And I was definitely, and still am to a certain extent, one of those people where I don't, I just want to keep improving things and making things better. And then I don't really step back and go, oh, well, look what I've achieved. But other people do.
I think people forget as well to celebrate like how far they've come. I think in a society where we're always pushed to do more and do better and progress all the time, we forget about all the stuff that we did back to get into the position that we're in today. And sometimes it's hard because people are like, oh, you could have done better. It's like, I could have done better. We all could have done better.
That's what learning is.
Yeah, exactly. Like, people forget that like you put so much hard work into the stuff that you do, and that you should be proud of that, because people think that, oh yeah, I did do that and it was cool, but like I want to do bigger and better things. But it's like, you should be happy with like all the progress that you made. In my current time, I just finished a commission for one of my friends, and at the start, I got him to assist me with the commission, and we were talking last night, and he was saying that like a couple of months ago you thought you were like a horrible designer and you were crap on all the stuff, and he sent me a screenshot of what I said as well, and he's like, now like look at what you achieved, and you called me a talented designer. And I was like, what? Like, this is going from like, he always like says like snarky remarks to me and like takes the piss out of stuff all the time, but when he said that I was like, oh my god, like it actually,
that's the
like,
thing
it meant
about
so
Ahmed,
much to me.
The thing about Ahmed is like, he will talk you down, and then suddenly he lifts you up, and you're like,
yeah, I'm like, I have mixed emotions. I'm like, thank you, but like, screw you, because you literally insulted me the whole time. But
for context, Ahmed is my brother, and he's another SRC member, and
if you're watching, hi.
Well, you guys all work together, so I think that's just part and parcel of working in a team, is that you tend to listen more to what they think of you than other people, because you work with them more closely.
Yeah. If anyone watching right now is like a bit run down, especially with lockdown and stuff, I think, and you've just worked your butt off on an assessment, whatever, and you feel kind of bad or whatever, just remember that it took a lot for you to get to the conference now you're in, and you should be proud. So well done, everyone. It's what week is it? Is it week 8?
It's week 8.
Week 9. Yeah. Well, no, it's week. Oh yeah, it is week 8. Whatever week it is in. I've lost all concept of time. I don't know what time it is. I don't know what year it is.
All I know is that I have assignments due on Sunday.
Same. We're nearly there. I'm counting on all of you. We can do this, and then we can celebrate, probably in lockdown, because let's be honest, not getting a lockdown anytime soon, but we can celebrate regardless in 4 weeks.
That's right. And I think, especially when you're studying and you have, if you're doing 3 subjects this trimester, you've got all your assessments due at the same time, and it gets really, really tough. So I think, one of the things that I always say to the new students at orientation is keep your eye on the goal. Remember why you started on the journey.
Yeah, you did say that.
Yeah.
I was at the orientation, the most recent one, I guess you could say. Is it the most recent one? Was it last year?
Last trimester.
At the beginning of last trimester.
Last year you were in year 12, mate. What are you on about?
Man, time flies. I was in high school and then bam, university.
I feel you.
I should thank you, Rebecca, because I met a good friend of mine at the orientation, because you were like, all right, everybody, turn to the person next to you and start a conversation.
I did.
And then I met, and then I met a friend, her name's Tulia, and we're good friends. So I have you to thank for that.
Oh, sweet.
Fantastic. Yeah.
Hey, Tulia, if you're watching.
Look, I'm glad that worked for you, because a lot of students, when they do first start at university, find it very, very daunting, which I understand perfectly. And I think the best thing that you can do is make a friend. To be honest.
Absolutely. Yeah, and especially a friend that can you can lift each other up and
exactly.
bounce ideas off of each other, and
realize
that it's not a lonely world.
Yeah.
Everybody's slowly making progress, and learning it's a group experience. It's great.
But yeah, definitely having friends does definitely help, because when I started, I did not have many friends. I didn't have any, actually. I was a loner. And it was very hard, and I did not like being there. And then joining the SRC this year, so last trimester, was the best decision I've ever made in my whole life, because at that time, I've said this story like a billion times, but I just got out of a breakup. I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't know if I had self-worth or about any of that stuff. And I met it's fine. I met Ahmed, and I was like, oh hey, hi, we're both brown, so we're gonna be best friends now. And now, I met Aisha, and I met everyone. I'm like, oh my god, this was the greatest thing ever. And then I became vice president. I'm like, okay, clearly I did the right decision.
It's life takes you on a journey.
it's all about choice, and you realizing that you always have a choice to go in one direction or another. But having people around you who understand what you're going through are the best form of support that you can have. And that's, going back to the orientation thing, that's why I always make everyone do that at orientation, even though it might seem like a really silly, frivolous activity as part of an orientation for a university. It is really, really important.
Yeah.
It was, funnily enough, for me personally, it was a big turning point in my life. Obviously, because I was going into high school and then I got into university, and I was like, okay, new area, new space, what's happening, what's going on? And then it was just like, I was at the orientation and I was like, I didn't know what to do with myself. But I know for a lot of people, talking to people and those types of things is daunting and a big effort, because I was one of those people. But then I kind of started getting used to it, and I kind of was like, I found people that I was comfortable with, and I was like, oh, made myself a little group of friends.
Yeah, we're all a bit of weirdos, let's be honest. Yeah, I think even if something's daunting, I feel like because it scares you, you're doing it for the right reasons, if that makes sense. I'm not saying like go tackle a shark or something, but like
do it.
You know what I mean? Or you
Tackle
just,
a shark.
just try LaBeouf and just do it.
I do know what you mean. I think when I left high school, I was very, very shy. I was very much a loner. And yeah, and I think that goes part and parcel of being a musician as well, because you spend a lot of time practicing by yourself. So when I went to uni, it took me a long time to realize that I needed the support of the people who are going through the same thing as me. And I eventually became part of the student council at my university as well, to encourage other people to do the same things. And that's and like what you were saying, that really changed the way that I saw my time at university. And it also changed how I then built my career after leaving as well. So so I think that's it's true for a lot of people, where you might think you're the only person feeling that way. I think a lot of people feel that way because even for people when you're in high school, you might have been the rock star, in the popular crowd, and everybody kind of knew you type person. But when you come to universities, everyone starts off on the same level because you're all the same. There's in my experience, there is always something that you can find where you can connect. There's always at least one thing, even if it's just something really basic like favorite TV show, or something really, really simple like that. At least then you've got that one branch, then you can build other branches.
Yeah, and you start off. I find that you start off with one thing. It's like you find out that both of you like the color blue, and it's like, oh, that's the one thing. And then you start to know each other more, and then you suddenly realize, oh, we both like playing this game, or we both like this TV show. And it's like, it's that build up of friendship. It
kind of reminds me of being a kid again, like when you're like in like kindergarten or whatever. It's like, oh, I like pink, and like, oh, cool, I like pink too. And then you become best friends for life. It's like just like the smallest thing. Like with me now, but it was like, you're brown, I'm brown, we're best friends now. I'm like, okay.
We've gone so off topic.
Welcome to the SRC podcast, where we have a plan and we go off script
every time.
Okay. All good.
I think back to your campus director life and all that stuff. What does a day as a campus director look like for you?
Well, it's never the same, and that's one of the nice things about the job, I suppose. I never know what's going to happen on a day. Some days I'm in meetings all day, which is not very exciting. But other days we might have an event on campus. We might have a facilities issue. like the toilet flooding or something like that. You know,
a fire in the microwave.
The fire in the microwave. That's right. I have to evacuate the campus.
That was fun and
sure
terrifying at the same time.
Yeah.
What did you do to the
Putting on
microwave?
the beautiful hard hat and
Yeah.
all the gear.
Someone just heated up a plastic container too long, and then the
Oh.
alarm went off, and I was like, "This is a drill." And then I smelled smoke, and I was like, "Yeah, nah, I'm gonna leave. Bye."
Yeah, so someone put something in the microwave in the student kitchen on level 1 for 30 minutes instead of 3, and then walked away. And so
Whoops.
it overheated and created toxic smoke in the campus. So as the campus director, all those facilities, things that could happen and emergencies like that, they are my responsibility to take control of and make sure everyone's safe. So it could be things like that.
Yeah.
But also, you know, I do manage the student services team as well. And the main part of my job is just making sure that the Ultimo community, whether students or staff, are all, you know, all going along as expected and are connecting with each other and having a good time as much as you can when you're studying and working and all those things. So that's kind of like what my job is. But because of all those things are so broad and different, no 2 days are the same for me.
Yeah.
It sounds like a job that really keeps you on the ball, keeps you thinking.
It does. And I think you know, being a campus director at the university, you're privileged enough to have connections with all of the other teams that make up the university as well, which is not necessarily something that everyone gets. And that is because everything happens on a campus. The campus is the hub.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
It sounds like quite a fulfilling job. Do you often get like a sense of fulfillment when you every day you achieve something new, or you find a new problem and you get to solve it, and it's like uplifting? And do you enjoy it?
I do enjoy it. Yeah, I do enjoy it. I think.
Well, we do hope so.
Put me on the spot there. No, I do enjoy it.
Like, nah, I hate it. It's the worst job ever.
Look, I think the thing that really motivates me is seeing the students on the campus having a good time, succeeding, winning awards, finishing their degrees and going off and making a career. They're the things that get me motivated and keep going and wanting to improve things trimester on trimester, so that you have the best experience that we can possibly give you to prepare you for your career, whatever that might be.
It's amazing. Yeah. I feel like that's a great goal, if I do say so myself. My very unprofessional opinion.
No, I think that's nice. It's like a reassuring, like as a student as well, to hear like the people who are like in charge say things like that. Because there's a lot of people who are in charge who are like, I don't really care about the students and their opinions. Like, I could just come in to do whatever and then leave.
Look, I think for the most part, people in charge at Torrens are student focused. So they always have you guys at the center of the decisions they're making as much as possible, because you're the reason we're here. So if you weren't at the center of those decisions, there would be something wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What would you say is the best or worst, or like your favorite and least favorite part of the job, if you can say?
My favorite part of the job is, well, I think I've already said that. Really, it's seeing you guys, it's seeing students on the campus, connecting with the campus, and not just coming to campus for class and going home, but hanging out, maybe playing a game of table tennis, or you know, whatever it is on the campus. And that's probably my favorite part of the job is running student events, working with the SRC to make events better and more in line with what students want, because I haven't been a student for a long time myself. So, you know, very much reliant on you guys giving me that feedback of what work on the campus. I guess my least favorite part is when something does go wrong and I can't fix it.
Yeah.
Because there are things that are beyond my control that I can't fix, and some of those things have a big impact on students, and that's the thing that I probably find the most challenging, is trying to convince other people to fix things so that you can have a better experience.
Yeah.
You feel like you probably had a lot of that issues when COVID first started coming up, and for the first time, but for the first time in a long time, I would feel you had to actually shut down the campus and keep like everyone safe.
Yeah.
The only time we've shut the campus before that was really over the Christmas break. That was the only other time the campus was ever closed.
Yeah.
So that was, I mean, it was something that we had to do. Just like this time, it's something we have to do to keep everybody safe. It's challenging. It's not easy. It can be, you know, as much, I'm sure that you guys, you know, students, when you're at home and having to study what is, you know, design is a very face-to-face kind of medium for most students. Having to study that online is hard.
Yeah,
and,
definitely.
You know, it's the same for us working remotely as well, because for my team specifically, so the student services team, we're employed to provide face-to-face customer service. So for us, having to provide that only via email or phone, that's hard, because it's a different skill set providing those services in a face-to-face context, as opposed to phone and email.
Yeah.
So, you know, it's hard for everybody in this situation, but I think the thing that I'm probably proudest of is that we have, you know, last year I think the team did an amazing job of answering all the phone calls and answering emails and keeping you guys informed about what was going on with the campus. And, you know, this time around, it's like Groundhog Day. We're back doing that again. And while it's not something that I would say that we enjoy or love doing, the fact that we still can keep doing it and remain positive, that there is light at the end of the tunnel, and that the campus will reopen eventually, and everyone will be able to come back and have that campus experience that you've enrolled in. So all the campus directors nationally, we get together once a week for a meeting so that we can all share what's going on across the nation. And we have a saying that COVID is the gift that just keeps on giving. So, slightly sarcastically, but you know,
the unwanted gift.
It reminds me of something that when I graduated high school, my year advisor, she gave a little speech. What my year mentor basically said to us was that she was very proud of us because what we showed was resilience and a maturity of self-managing ourselves and actually still putting in the effort to show up to every online class. And like, it's a lot harder to get yourself going when you're still at home, and you don't have that same for me, a big process of getting prepared for the day was actually going out of the house and traveling to university or to high school, and that like gets your brain going.
Yeah. It definitely showed the dedication of all the students last year, because last year as well I didn't know anything about, because we went into, I think we were in March, and then they're like, campus is closed, goodbye, and we were all like, oh, okay, well, what do we do now? And I think it was definitely hard, but I think the way that the uni handled it was definitely like,
it was reassuring as well.
It was, because they were actually cared about the student experience, and they're like, tell us if, you know, this doesn't work, or if that doesn't work, or, you know, what we can do better. And I was like, that just makes the whole experience, as much as it is, you know, a horrible situation to be in, they handle it really well. And like, I'm happy that, you know, we're fortunate enough to be with people who actually do give a shit about us.
So like, even though like you were sarcastically saying it's a gift that keeps on giving, I always have an optimistic twist in life, and it's like, it kind of is a gift that keeps on giving, because it's like it's people are learning to become very flexible as well. Well, not flexible, what's the word, adaptable.
That's right. Yeah, look, when I said that, I did mean it in both ways, because it's actually forced us to look at that online experience a lot more, and look at, well, if we're delivering this type of thing on campus, how do we replicate that, or how do we do that in an online environment? And we haven't quite got there yet with all of those things, but it's certainly something that we are thinking about and working on constantly, especially at the moment, to try and make sure that we're not leaving anyone out of that experience. So I think from that perspective, it is a gift that keeps on giving, because it's making us think about all those things, especially at the moment for international students, for example, who are not in Australia. They can't come to the campus anyway. So, you know, how do we bring them into our campus community? And that's one of the things that I'm working on at the moment.
Is there anything you wish you would have known before going into this career, or do you feel like the way that it played out was good enough?
That's a really interesting question. I don't know, to tell you the truth. I think like when I first started out working in universities, it was very much something that I just fell into. It wasn't something that was planned. And I think along the way, I've just kept learning more things. And I think when you start out in a career, you don't realise how complex it can be, especially this industry of tertiary education in Australia. It is very complex, and you don't realise how complex it is until you get close to the kind of managerial level, I suppose. But if someone had tried to explain that to me when I was 18 years old, I wouldn't have really understood, I don't think. I think the one thing that not so much something that I wish I'd known, but something that I found to be very true, is that you learn a lot of skills along the way that are not necessarily a physical skill or a tactile skill, I suppose you'd call it, but you learn different things about people, about yourself, and about how to communicate in different ways. That informs then how you build your career, or what that next step is. And because I've worked across different careers in different industries, I have been able to pull different aspects of that into who I am now and how I do my job. And I think those are the things that no one really tells you when you're starting out, is that you just, over time, you learn heaps and heaps of different things, until eventually you get to a point where you look back and you go, oh, yeah, okay. And I think the other thing I've learned is that you can learn, you know, as much as we want to focus on the successes that we have in our studies, in our careers, in our lives, you also learn a lot from the really bad stuff. So you learn, you know, if you have a bad manager who you really don't like, you're going to learn a lot about how not to be a manager for somebody else further down the track. So I guess that's the thing for me, is just that you don't really realize how much you learn from other people on the journey that you're on until you start looking back at it.
It's amazing.
Yeah, that's kind of like comes back to that idea of just taking as many opportunities as you can. Because everything's opportunity to either learn or to grow. And
Awesome. And I think like your perspective on like situations that happen to you as well, and what you do with the situations that you've been given with, and how you can like take what you want from that, and then anything that was like then you're like, okay, well, I want that to go over my head, or things like that.
What would you say is your greatest strength when it comes to these issues?
I think my ability to stay calm under pressure is probably one of them. I would say my ability to listen. So if someone's trying to tell me there's something wrong, I need to let them talk and tell me what the problem is before I open my mouth.
Yeah.
So, and I suppose that comes with being patient as well. And the last thing I would say is having what I would call a strategic brain. So, and the way I explain this to my team is that you have people that see things in a tunnel, and it's just this. Whereas I think that way, because if I make a decision here, it could impact something over here and make that not work. So being able to look at things through a couple of different perspectives to make sure that the decision that I do make is the right one.
Yeah. I feel like I do think about a lot of different perspectives when I go into stuff, not just because I'm vice now, but at training, I do kickboxing. Here are my belts. I'm currently senior brown, and I do take the classes, and a lot of like with that, it's like, yeah, I'm instructing and stuff, but sometimes because I'm very hardworking, I sometimes push people too far. And I can see that they're tired and stuff. I'm like, okay, maybe I need to step a bit back, as much as I can go further in the situation. Everyone is not like me, and that some people need rest sooner than later, and like drinking water and stuff like that. But yeah, that's really cool.
I think that's one of the key things, is that one size does not always fit all. So you need to be adaptable to the person that you're trying to help, or the person that's come to you with an issue, because and even when you are training somebody, some people need to do while you're showing them, because they learn by doing, and then other people just want to sit down and read a document. So you need to be adaptable to the way that people learn, and to the way people like to communicate, because you need them on your side. You need them on your side so that you can help them.
Yeah, for sure.
That's a good skill to have.
It takes practice.
I can only imagine.
When I first became a supervisor, my first supervisory role, I was not very patient. And so I learned, these are things that you learn the hard way sometimes.
I think that's the difference between, a really good leader and a leader that's like, I don't know if there's a word for that, but it's my description.
That's okay. You can use
This is kind of just as a way that I can kind of relate to you, was like something that I do in my spare time is that I do a lot of moderating for like Discord chats and a Minecraft server and stuff like that. And it's like part of my job is to make sure everybody is safe, make sure that things are running well and people are getting along with each other, and building communities and making like activities like we're having a tournament at this time, and make sure everybody knows. And it's like something that I had to learn as well, was to do that patience kind of thing, where it's like you have to take everything with like as like a grain of salt, but like
and then make a decision after. I think I can relate to that as well. I think being a leader is not just about telling people what to do, it's about listening for the most part, and like seeing what you can do to better the people that you're kind of overseeing. Especially like I'm an older sister to like 3 younger siblings, and I feel like a lot of my intuition comes from that, because sometimes you just have to hear everyone's stupid little arguments and be like, okay, now let's talk about it and see like, what we can do instead of saying, shut up, go to your room, I don't care, which would be the easier thing to do. But, you need to listen and kind of be like, oh, okay, because it's not, so after I'm the oldest and I have a brother, a sister, and then another younger brother. And sometimes the older ones are more often than not wrong, because we're like, oh yeah, we can do whatever we want because we're older. It's like, no, the younger ones do say some interesting stuff. I'm like, oh, I never thought of it like that. Like I do learn a lot from my siblings, and even with training as well, and like new roles in the SRC, like it's not just about telling people what to do and stuff like that. Like it's a lot more than that.
No, it's about working together with people to get to achieve the best outcome. That's what it's about. It's not about giving orders or directives. Yes, there are times where you have to do that as a leader because that is your job.
Yeah.
But most of it is listening to other people, getting their opinion, and then working with them to achieve what it is you want to achieve. And, a lot of that is influencing. So if you've got one group of people that really stuck on one idea and another group stuck on another and they're not seeing eye to eye, it's about influencing both of them to come to a happy medium in the middle. And, if you can help them to do that together, then it doesn't become your thing, it's theirs. Then you've done well.
Quick fire questions, Aisha.
All right, I'll start us off. Okay. How the quick fire questions work, we have 10 questions, and we have 10 minutes to answer all 10 questions. If history says anything, it's that we're going to go over time, so don't worry too much about the timer. But
where did you grow up?
In Melbourne.
Ooh. Who's your biggest influencer / inspiration, would you say, or one of them?
Walt Disney.
Ooh,
nice.
Are you a typonaut? I don't know what that means.
It's like, are you very much into typography?
Oh, are you a typography snob like I am?
I don't think so.
Good, because I can ramble on for 400 years.
Next question. What's your favorite game to play or video game if you play any?
My goodness, I haven't played a video game for a very long time.
What's your favorite hobby if that isn't irrelevant to you?
Okay, so my favorite hobby is playing piano.
Oh, can you what can you play?
No, we're doing quick fire questions.
Wait, I want to ask.
No.
Shush. This is my show.
Question number 5. What is your favorite TV show / movie?
I will ask after. I'm sorry.
My favorite movie is probably Titanic.
Ooh, one of the classics. All right, question 6.
If you could meet anyone living or dead, who would you want to meet?
Apart from Walt Disney.
Yeah. That's a good question. I think I would probably want to meet Beyonce.
Ooh, another classic. Look at you go, saying all the right answers.
There are no right or wrong answers.
There is definitely a right and wrong answer, I might say. Question number 7. Would you consider yourself more of a morning person or a night person?
Morning.
We're not going to be friends. I'm joking. And that's when I got fired. Goodbye, everyone. Are you a more organized, a list, schedule person, or you just go with the flow?
I'm a bit of both. I'm a bit of both. I do need lists because I have so many things that I need to be across. But the nature of my job is that I need to be a go with the flow person because I don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah. Question number 9. Do you have any useless or weird talents?
Useless or weird talents?
But she's super talented. She has all the talents, especially music-wise.
Okay, Coco.
I don't know. I do play ukulele a little bit. That's probably
It's kind of cool.
the strangest thing I have.
What is your goal at the very moment?
Work-wise, my top goal is to come up with an online experience for our on-campus start of trimester shenanigans that we normally have, or events, I should say.
Yeah.
And outside of work, my top goal at the moment is to start learning some new songs and recording them.
Yeah. So like, what instruments can you play? Can you sing? Obviously you can, but yeah.
So I'm a classically trained singer, but I do a little bit of pop and musical theatre as well.
Ooh.
I play piano, so I have a little digital piano in my bedroom when inspiration strikes. I play a little bit of guitar and a little bit of ukulele.
Have you written your own music, or is that?
Yep.
Oh, can we see one day?
One day, not today. It's not something that people commonly know, but I guess everyone will know now. So
that's so cool. But thank you so much, Rebecca, for you're so cool.
Well, thank you.
Thank you. Yes, thank you very much for being a part of the podcast and getting involved and letting us interview you.
And letting us know about the wonderful world of being a campus director.
You're welcome. No, I just wish everyone good health and stay safe. And, you know, if there's any support that any students need, just keep reaching out to student services because we're still here. So, yeah.
So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
You can find us at Spotify, most podcast applications,
including Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts. Did we say Spotify? iHeartRadio, Player FM apparently, and Twitch. We stream live on Twitch. I don't know why I'm dancing. And YouTube.
You're already here, but like you can go watch our other episodes.
Yes,
Thank
subscribe.
You very much.
Give the video a like if you want.
So if you have specific requests, or
if you want us to talk about certain things, or if you have a lecture that you think is really cool and you want us to talk to them, hit us up.
Let us know. Don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe, and ring that bell
to be notified when we upload.
Thank you very much, and I hope everyone has a wonderful day.
Yeah, stay hydrated, and we'll see you in the next episode. Bye.
Bye-bye.